I am Trine, and I have not written a character since 2017. Back then, I was the lead designer, character designer for 1942, Someone to Trust, a Larp about a Norwegian village during World War II. It had 100 pre-written characters in Norwegian and English that were extensive, well-researched, well-connected, and of high quality. I love writing characters, but that process broke me. Since then, I have been watching out for simpler ways of creating a large number of characters while maintaining quality. And that's what I'm here to present today. I will use examples from 3 different Larps. I was a designer of KoiKoi. I was a player at 3 AM Forever. And Trohetsløften I heard about at a party. And I thought it was so interesting that I wrote an article about it that you can read in this year's KP book or on nordiclarp.org. I'm seeing time-saving concepts, but compared to what? A pre-written character text can be boiled down to a written description of what sort of person this is and how they are connected to others. Usually they are unique, so for a Larp of 80 players, you write 80 character texts. So let's see what these people have done. KoiKoi was a Norwegian Larp about a fictional hunter-gatherer society. It had 75 players and 4 days of playtime. And here the time-saving concept was that they had pre-written elements assembled into characters by the organizers. What does that mean? For the characters, we created a set of 27 descriptions of personality traits in the form of, I am the one who mixes new herbs in the pot. I'm the one who sings beautifully. I'm the one who tells rabbit jokes, which is an important function. So each character got 1 positive and 1 negative character trait, and no characters had the same combination. In addition, the Ankoi people understood themselves and the world through storytelling. And we wrote more than 30 stories that were part of their culture, and assigned each character a story they liked to tell. And this could tell the player something about the character's values, about their humor, about what they thought it was important to share with others. It also made sure that each story had at least 2 or 3 characters that knew them and would tell them. So did this save time? It saved a lot of time for us on character writing by combining these elements. What did take a lot of time was figuring out the relations these people had to each other because they had a very complex family system. So my next example is of a Larp that left relations up to the players as well. 3 AM Forever was a Larp about an after-party at a theater premiere, where the Fae are lurking in the shadows. The Larp had approximately 80 characters and lasted 1 evening. It was played in Copenhagen, Denmark for the first run, so it's been rerun later. And here the time-saving concept is pre-written elements assembled into characters by the players using Larpweaver. And Larpweaver is an online tool where we as players got to read through descriptions of different elements and then choose which ones we want to bring into our characters. And these were the elements. And the 2 first, there was a group of 6 seeds. Seeds were like very short character concepts. And those were limited. Only 1 person could choose each seed, and 6 people could choose each group. The others were, anyone could choose these ones. And you got to know who else had chosen the same. It could use that to prepare relations between you. Here's a question of saving time for whom? It saved time for the organizers. They made the building blocks and then left it up to the players to put them together. For the players, this drastically increased the amount of text you had to read before the Larp. 16 group descriptions with 6 characters, 6 to 8 descriptions of each memory, of each experience, of each motivation, and so forth. And on the one hand, reading through all that gave me a feel for the Larp and what might be part of the universe. On the other hand, for players with reading disabilities and attention problems, this was a huge obstacle to creating their characters. So my next example shows a different approach that reduces the amount of reading a player needed to do to understand the social networks of their character and of the whole Larp. This is Trohetsløften, Pledges of Allegiance, and it was a Larp about soldier conscription and weddings set in a small village in Sweden in the 1670s. It had 45 players and 24 hours of runtime. And here the time-saving concept is to use reusable sets of characters fleshed out by the players. So instead of 45 unique pre-written characters, there were 3 times 15 character shells. And a character shell are simple descriptions with questions the players needed to fill out. The families had a very brief description and a set of questions the players needed to find answers to together. So the village consisted of 3 neighborhoods, where 15 characters were divided into 3 families. All relations were held within the neighborhood, but you were free to play with anyone in the village. And in this way, the neighborhood formed a small Larp in the big Larp. And it also meant that by knowing the characters and dynamics in your own neighborhood, you also knew all the characters and dynamics in the village. Do you see a pattern in the names here? So the families with the same suffix is part of the same neighborhood. The families that start on the same letter consist of the same characters, and the characters that start on the same letter are based on the same character shells. And if you're intrigued by how does this feel to play, you need to read my article. It took more time to write the individual characters than it would have done to just write a regular character. But when the organizers could just duplicate the characters, that's where they saved a lot of time and work. The venue and the organizers were very flexible, and this meant that if they had gotten 60 signups or 75, they could just have added new neighborhoods and given them new names. So to go back to the start, none of these approaches would have helped us in creating the characters for 1942, but diving into ways of writing characters that is less work and time-consuming inspires me to leave my hiatus and start writing characters again. And I hope it inspires you as well. Thank you.